Tickets are on sale now for our 20th anniversary Back to the 80s and 90s WrestleFest Birthday Bash, Saturday, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, baby, it is that time of the week again. It is Sunday night. It is the bi-weekly, non-cleaning lady installment of Wrestling Insider Stern But Fair. I'm Dan Marty, along with the first Boston Wrestling MWF Heavyweight Champion, now Board of Director and co-host on this fine the host of this fine podcast, I should say. I'm more like Ed McMahon, the one, the only Mr. Tiger Mulligan. Tiger, what a disaster we had last week. My darling cleaning women were here, and even though they did a great job cleaning, they left a clogged toilet. And I was in the middle of a lot of plunging before we started to record. And then the problem was, even though I did hit the record button, I forgot to put the recording device in. So nothing was recorded.
Seems like that we've been having a very poor few weeks.
I tell you. And I think it's going to probably continue through November the 13th, fans, as Boston Wrestling MWF gets ready to celebrate its 20th anniversary live at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts, Saturday night, November the 13th. Live wrestling, autograph photo, fan fest, VIP exclusive Q&A, and so much more. VIP packages and tickets on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. Wasn't that a great segue to get a cheap plug in for ticket sales right off the bat?
I mean, it wouldn't be an episode of Stern But Fair if we didn't have a cheap plug.
Oh, no. There's going to be many cheap cheap plugs. The plugs aren't cheap, eh? We get the numbers across the board. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's because October is generally kind of a busy sports month, but the numbers haven't been so great in October. I don't know what we have to do. We might have to raffle you off.
You got to hey, listen, if the price is right, then yeah, I'll do whatever it takes.
Well, I'm going to have to call over to the Holiday Inn Express and see if some of the former employees are still there. But that's a different story for a different time, I guess.
It's a completely different podcast.
Definitely not the Boys and Bros one you do during the week. But will that fine co-host of yours be joining us November 13th?
Yeah, you know what? I will definitely have him at the show at some point in time. I think I'm actually going to end up bringing the whole family with me. It's going to be a little family excursion because my wife has got some friends up in that Boston area. So while I'm doing my thing, she'll probably be out doing hers. Oh,
so it's going to be a very hilly weekend.
It will be a hilly weekend.
It will be a hilly weekend for the great fans. Indeed. Well, it is going to be fantastic to have the first and former champion with us in a company and organization you helped kick off in the right way back on September the 28th, 2001 at Wonderland Greyhound Park in Revere, Massachusetts. The great success you had. It would not be right if you were not there in attendance, as I continue to try and work away on the fine roster of athletes. But anyway, that's a different story for a different time. A lot of shenanigans going on here in the MWF. I'm sure you, as a board of director member, you've been keeping track of it, with tomorrow being a Columbus Day / Indigenous People Day. I don't know. Should we send a shout out to that lowlife scumbag Dylan Cage down in North Carolina?
I mean, for me, why not? I always have a special place in my heart for Dylan Cage. I know you might be singing a different tune when it comes to that, but yeah, we'll give him a quick shout out.
Well, he never broke,
at least from my end of the phone.
He never broke into your house and took Christmas pictures of your partner, but that's a different story for a different time.
I would love to see. I'd love to talk to him about that.
Yeah, that brings back some really great memories for me. I don't know if you know, John Cena Sr. seems to think it's a great idea to have Dylan Cage at the 20th anniversary bash, even though the last time we saw Dylan before the coronavirus, President Reese gave him a carte blanche treatment, so to speak. President Reese is a man that believes a controversy creates more attention to what we do as opposed to just straight in-ring wrestling. Dylan is so angry with John Cena Sr. for abandoning the Indian people after they had those 2 major storms down there and flooding like you wouldn't believe. Just got in the Cena helicopter and decided to fly north again. He flew the coop, and Dylan put out these bizarre, strange, black and white videos with the satanic logo on them. So, I don't think he's going to come bearing early Christmas presents for John Cena Sr. if he does make an appearance on November 13th.
Well, you know what? John Cena Sr. is a very wise man, and if he got out of there very, very quickly, it was for good reason, and I'm sure he has good reason.
Yeah, he couldn't make any money.
Hey, listen, it's all about dollar bill, right? So if you're not going to make money, you need to get up and go.
Well,
and find out where you're going to strike gold, so to speak.
As much as I don't like Dylan Cage, what those poor people went through down there through those floods, the fans in North Carolina are exceptional. Even though there was a bit of a language barrier, they always treated me with great respect and kindness. I've always had a lot of fun when we've had our live events down in North Carolina. I just simply will always detest that human being for the humiliation he tried to put me, my family through, the entire organization through, and the humor that he found in it in his psychotic ways. And again, his flunky. Well, I don't know if John Cena Sr. would exactly be his flunky, but maybe his benefactor may be the best way to put it. At least Paul Bearer saw the light and kicked both Cage and Cena to the curb before he passed away. So I'll always say kudos to the late, great Paul Bearer for that. We only wish that he would be with us on November 13th at Memorial Hall for the Back to the 90s celebration. He'd certainly fit in from that early 90s / new generation type era that we are looking for with the stars on hand. But you also have a big week ahead. Here in Boston Wrestling, John Cena Sr. will be in the studio taping. Beyond the issues he and I have had, disagreements with Dylan Cage, we have Cena's issues with Cam Zagami and the Uprising, the faction that Cam kind of swindled away from Johnny. Cam was, I guess you'd call John Cena Sr.'s Virgil at one point, and then he went on to, as fate would have it, appear on John Cena Jr.'s American Grit reality show on Fox. And during a period when Cena Sr. was suspended from the company, he used the money he claimed he made from the reality show, and he bought contracts and IPs and copyrights that were expiring, and he kind of put Cena and turned him into dust. But as you may have seen on one of the more recent MWF extras, Cena Sr. Claims that other than the hosts and the winner of these reality shows, the contestants that lose, they only make a $300 to $500 a week stipend. So Cena is calling out Zagami, and he claims that there is someone else that has put the money into the Uprising faction. I speculated if it could be our old friend John Bradshaw Layfield, who had money invested at one point. Apparently, Cena says it is not Layfield. He doesn't know. So there is mystery abound here in Boston Wrestling as we prepare for the big one at Memorial Hall.
Hey, listen, you just spewed a lot of bullshit out of your mouth. I don't know if I was able to follow all of it, but listen, Cena Sr. is a smart guy. We just alluded to that earlier. He's a wise man.
But there is the element of sleaze.
But you know what? To me, that's just business. I mean, look at somebody like Vince McMahon. We consider him a model citizen. Probably not, but he knows business, and sometimes it takes a bit of a sleazeball to become successful. And you know what? If the guys that were underneath Cena or working for Cena are learning from him and doing exactly what Cena was going to do, kudos to them, because they need to make a payday at the end of the day. Hey, listen, it's all probably going to unfold either before or on November the 13th, so everybody's got to stay tuned.
Well, do you think Vince on November 13th is going to be selling soda pop and hot sauce with his face on it like John Cena Sr.?
I mean, Vince would sell his own kids if it was going to make him a pretty penny. So
do you think Owen might want a bottle of the Fabo Pop? I believe there's six different flavors. I believe.
I'll be honest, Owen. Owen is gonna be there with myself, and we're gonna be plugging banter with the boys. So he'll probably be selling his own merchandise and not be worrying about
he has merchandise.
other stuff. Hey, he doesn't have it yet, but we have it in the works. So
I believe
I am a
an
businessman.
8-year-old child has merchandise.
Hey, listen. We have to make a buck. He's got to go to college. How are we going to pay for college? You got to start making merch now.
Well, all right, folks. Before we get into the thick of things, just want to remind you it's going to be a big week beyond. Hopefully some breaking news about an addition to the live event November the 13th. Tomorrow night at 7:30 prior to Monday Night Raw, we are going to go back to Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to bring you some of the great sights and sounds from the 55th Cauliflower Alley Club reunion, and we're going to bring you the speech from Rey Mysterio accepting the CAC's Lucha Libre Award. If you don't want to wait until tomorrow to see Rey Mysterio, you can catch it now at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Join the Patreon family. Help keep wrestling legends working. In addition to that, beyond the early access to Rey Mysterio's CAC speech, we have Tuesday and Wednesday's episodes of Wrestling Insiders online already. The final of 6 episodes with New Jack on Wrestling Insiders Extreme, which premieres on YouTube Tuesday night at 10. And then Wrestling Insiders Special Edition, which premieres on YouTube Wednesdays at 10 after AEW Dynamite. Our old friend Demolition Axe is back as we continue to try and dissect and break down the year that was the World Wrestling Federation in 1987. Those great episodes will be available this week, but if you don't want to wait, again, patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Help us keep the lights on so we can bring you more great legends in studio. I know we've spoken off air about some of the legends that are going to be appearing the weekend of our anniversary event, November 13th. They all want to come down.
Hey, why wouldn't they?
I think Bob Backlund could make for some interesting material.
I think I think that it's like we're in the day of age where, the old guys want to tell stories like they always had. They always want to tell stories. And, so many people want to listen to those stories. And you're giving them an outlet to tell their stories. And, for, what'd you say? For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, you can listen to those stories. Why not? Like, get on it, people.
Well, they do get the free version on YouTube. But if you want the early full screen availability over on Patreon, if you want those studio shoot interview DVDs, that have been seen by millions online and millions more on the Howard Stern Show. If you want some exclusive content that you can't see anywhere else, that is the place to be. Again, it starts at only $6 a month, and you help keep Wrestling Legends working. I almost sound like it's Christmas time, and I'm doing that pitch for the homeless animals that you see in a cage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got to get you. What was that lady's name?
The ASPC, or whatever it's called.
No, we got to get you that lady. Who was it? Sally Struthers, who was peddling way back in the day about the people in Africa or whatnot for just pennies on the day.
We'll bring her up to Tony Atlas's house when I fell through the broken concrete step onto the ground.
Well, let's not give him the time of day, so let's not even mention it.
That's a very good point. But anyway, with between all that banter and buddying around, you know what I found interesting? I was telling a friend of mine how happy I was that you were coming up and I was going to be able to see you. And then I started to think, when the heck was the last time I saw you? And the last time I honestly remember off the top of my head would have been when you brought a very young Bull Dempsey, Bull James up with you to Good Time Emporium in Somerville, Massachusetts back in November of 2007, the night of what we'll call Shitgate, when Commissioner Von Johnson's ass exploded.
I don't know anything about that. But
you don't remember him that night when he
don't.
Wrapped himself in a map of...
No,
in a map of... Well, it's in Al Snow's book.
I'm going to have to go back and look at his book. I never read his book.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't. I mean, I vaguely remember the day because I believe you were hot at me because we were late for Al Snow's seminar.
Oh, I wouldn't have even known that day was so crazy. All I remember is it was Thanksgiving weekend. Al's flight was late.
I don't think that was the last time. Was the because I worked Viking Raider Ivar that show, no?
I believe so, yeah.
And he cheated. He probably cheated to win. Would be my guess, even though
Yeah,
I
sure
love
that's
that guy.
what
But
happened,
I'm sure he cheated to win.
I'm sure.
But I could have sworn I was booked there afterwards at some high school that you ran. It was a show in the afternoon and a show at night. Was it the month before?
Yeah, that was October. That was, and you know I'm a baseball fan, and you know I'm
Yeah, of
excited
course.
because I'm going to I was at the big, I don't know if you're a Yankees fan, but I was at
No, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Oh, all right. Well, I was there Tuesday night when the Red Sox kicked ass and took no prisoners in what was a very thrilling, exciting game for the wild card, and I'm going to be going this afternoon, which is
good
why
for
you and I are taping a little early, and I'm going to be there tomorrow afternoon as well, or tomorrow night, depending upon the time.
Well, you got season tickets to that?
No, I just as soon as they went
pick
on
'em up
sale,
on
I was actually, I hate to say it, but we were in the middle of taping one of Johnny's shows when the tickets went on sale, and I was going.
So you took a quick break.
No, he was talking, and I was trying to get them through my phone.
Oh, that's funny.
But I was able to get them for the wild card in the first two games for the division series, so I'm excited about that. But anyway, to make the story make sense, the weekend of that high school show you mentioned, it was not only was it Halloween weekend in Salem, Massachusetts, but the Red Sox were in the World Series against the Colorado Rockies. So I think we sold 600 tickets in advance, and I don't even think 300 people showed up. I do remember, and one of the more crushing moments of my life, we did a sales at the door of 7 tickets to go along with that giant pre-sale.
Oh, geez.
So Red Sox Nation was at home watching TV as opposed to being with us live in Salem, Massachusetts for a pretty good show from what I remember.
I mean, I remember, I think I worked Eddie Edwards in the afternoon in what was, if I recall correctly, a good match. And then I want to say it was Scotty Tuhati in the night show.
Yeah, yes, you did work Scotty Tuhati.
And all I vaguely remember from that, I remember the crowd being hot, but I want to say they bust in some special needs kids for that show, no?
Well, it was
Or
a
was it
fundraiser for the
for
Special Olympics, yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
and
they
I
were tied into it.
remember one of them was down at ringside. Either he accompanied Scotty to the ring or he was a ring announcer or something.
Well,
and all I remember is Scotty hooking my arms and the kid chopping me, and I've never been chopped so hard in my life.
And then I'll tell you this, in one of the more unique moments in MWF history, after the match, 2 of them got in the ring and tried to do the worm.
Oh, my God. I'm glad I wasn't there for that.
That was quite the moment. That was quite
I'm
the
sure
moment.
it was. Hey, listen, it was a moment that they'll never forget. And it seems like you've never forgotten it. I wasn't around. I was in the back trying to recover from getting the worm myself from Scotty. So I don't remember what happened thereafter. But I remember that show. It was a good show.
As far as I recall, the last time I saw you, I believe me, you, Bull, Jay, Al, and Von Johnson went to Kowloon after that.
Kowloon, you're right.
Yeah, and that was, I don't remember.
I don't remember being booked after that.
I don't know what the heck happened. I remember
I'm putting the heat on you.
In early 08, we were in New Hampshire for a little bit. Then we started the endeavor that turned into, I guess, maybe Chapter 2 of the MWF in dealing with the monstrosity that is 2 blocks from this studio at Memorial Hall in Melrose with the monster known as Piggott.
Okay.
You might have to throw Piggott one. Maybe that'll ease the tension that's gone on.
Perhaps.
If your wife won't be there, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, come on. I don't know if I'm going to be doing anything.
Well, do you remember the show The Facts of Life?
Of course.
Well, she looks a little bit like Edna Garrett.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Only
God.
she's got a
I'll
very
leave that
thick Charlestown accent.
I'll leave that to Cena Senior for that one because I'm sure Margeau won't be in town.
If Marty is in a certain state, maybe he might be able to help the cause with
Okay,
his
so then
Southern
good
charm.
because we know that Marty will be in that certain state regardless.
No. Marty is going to be on his
that.
best behavior. He has been told.
I've already got money down on it. The over under right now is within an hour of being at the show before he either passes out, drools, stumbles, or does something stupid.
Well, it's not going to be a good night for him if he does, but that's a different story for a different time. As of right now, I still expect to be like the villain in Inspector Gadget, just watching everything over a monitor from 2 blocks away.
Will you have the cat with you?
No, there will be no cat.
Well, the Inspector Gadget villain had a cat.
Oh, did he? I don't. I thought you were playing off of the joke, but apparently you don't know the joke.
I don't know the joke, nor do I think I want to know the joke. But
you have never seen the top secret video from Tony Atlas's porch with the cat from last summer.
Do you think I want to see that top secret video? This is why I don't go on the internet.
It's private, so it's not. It's accessible to people. I'll have to send you a private link, and you'd probably laugh until next Sunday.
Oh my God!
It's quite the video. It's quite the video.
I'll be looking forward to that message later today.
All right. Anyway,
enjoy the Red Sox game.
Anyway, back to the topic at hand: the world of professional wrestling. I've been so busy trying to get things ready to give the fans the most immersive, interactive, engaging experience in professional wrestling on November 13th. I've been seeing so little wrestling lately, it isn't even funny. And you know what's even worse is I don't even care. Because I feel like I've missed nothing.
No, I mean, I don't think you've missed much. The way I've been feeling, and I actually was thinking about it early this morning. I woke up early and just kind of staring at the ceiling type of thing. And I've been seeing a lot online about Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor and stuff like that, and just like their shows, and even the NWA and how they're running. They're actually running quite a bit of shows, and I don't have access to any of it. And I kind of am shaming myself for not going out of my way to try to find it and look at it, and whether it be good. I don't know if it's good product or bad product. I'm not here to say that. I just am kind of shaming myself, like I said, because I should be watching it or trying to get a hold of it, and I just haven't been. So it's too bad.
I cannot speak to the NWA as I've never seen it. I cannot speak to Ring of Honor because I don't think we get it up in this area. But I will say that we did a Impact Wrestling pay-per-view watch-along. And you know what? While it's certainly not on par with what WWE and AEW has right now, it's an improved roster. It's generally a younger roster. It's got a few veterans on there. They picked up some good, I guess maybe I'd call them B players from some of the WWE releases that have come up. And, I think they've done a great job with it. D'Lo Brown, who joins us for, I think we taped 8 episodes of Wrestling Insider Special Edition that you guys are going to enjoy later this fall into the winter. He's done a great job as the head of talent relations. They don't have mega bucks to spend like
he's
WWE.
The head, not to cut you off, he's the head down there?
Yeah, I didn't know that either until we did the interview. He actually, I thought
Tommy Dreamer was.
No, and this was even before that whole Dark Side of the Ring thing. So
yeah. Oh God, we should talk about that. Did you see that?
We'll get there in a second. But just to show you the kind of guy D'Lo is. I don't know if you remember his appearance at Soul Survivor 1.
He was hot at me. He was hot at me that show.
Why?
Well, no, he wasn't hot. It was his opponents were hot because they had planned some kind of spot in their match with a chair. Mm-hmm. And my match with Wenzel, I believe, went on before theirs, and they didn't tell us that they were going to use a chair, so we used a chair for the finish, and they had to kind of change their finish. And his opponent, I have no idea who his opponent was, but was really, really upset.
It would have been Viking Raider Ivar, as a matter of fact.
Oh, so then I guess they were really upset about it and PO'd that we used a chair and didn't tell anybody. And hey, listen, it is what it is.
Well, like you said, it is what it is. But I enjoyed D'Lo then. I like D'Lo now. D'Lo, again, to show how much credibility this man has, he's already kept his word on something that him and I had discussed off camera in Las Vegas that I appreciated an awful lot. And I think it could be a good sign of things to come in the future. Like I said, I like the little roster that they have. Do I want to sit through another 2-hour wrestling show every week? I don't even want to sit through the 2-hour wrestling shows that are on now. But that's a different story for a different time. I like some of the ideas we've discussed about the new presentation for Boston Wrestling MWF after the anniversary program, more along the lines of, well, I don't want to drop too many hints, but it'll be the polar opposite of everything you see right now with these major league promotions, which I think is a good thing. I think people have had enough of 2-hour wrestling shows. I think Rampage is probably so well received by AEW fans is because it's only an hour long. The only problem is it comes on the tail end of a 2-hour WWE show. But anyway.
Well, you know what's funny is that I watched both SmackDown and Rampage on Friday as they were happening. And, you know, people are right. That Rampage show, I love the hour concept. The matches are quick, but they're still good. They're solid matches. They still have star power on there. They had CM Punk on there. They allow guys the time that they need. They don't overextend their time, but they don't cut them short enough to where the match is just a throwaway. There was a pretty decent match with Brian Cage and Ricky Starks as the main event. I mean, that's not really a main event match, but I watched it. It was good. I mean, the overall product of that Rampage show is actually very, very good. And I'm happy that, you know, Tony Khan is down there doing his thing because it seems like they have a good business model, and if they keep doing what they're doing, they're definitely going to go very far within this industry.
Well, I tell you this, I am not a fan of the FTW title being thrown out there. It's just needless.
I agree.
In a day, and it's not just AEW, it's every wrestling promotion has too many worthless titles. AEW is adding another one, the TBS title, which is certainly, again, not needed. But what do you think of Ricky Starks?
You know what? I think he's very, very underrated. I think that he's very solid in the ring. He can talk. I just think he's missing something. Do I know what that something is? No, I don't. But it's something. I almost feel like, you know, he's working as a heel, but I think if you were to give him a run as a babyface, he'd be a lot better babyface than he would be a heel. He's a decent looking guy. He's got a good build to him. I just think, like I said, he's missing something. But he's very, very, very good in the ring. I'll give him that.
I'll tell you this. He really impresses me. He is someone I would go out of my way to protect if I was AEW. He was
yes.
One of the top heels in the coming years, but I didn't realize how old he was.
How old is he?
He's, I think, 31.
Oh, that's not old. Come on.
Well, I mean, as far as grooming stars of the future go, usually you don't look at a 31-year-old and say, okay, this is a guy. Yeah, not to say that it's impossible, it can't be done, it hasn't been done, but he's aged well. I would have, guessed maybe somewhere in the mid to upper 20s. So, yeah. But anyway, I think he's oozing charisma. He reminds me of a much smaller version of The Rock from 1998. I think he's really that good.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's very good. Do I think he could be groomed for the future? Sure. I mean, I think he's got probably another, if he stays healthy, and doesn't get injured, you give him another 10 years solid.
Oh, easily. In this day and age, my God.
Sure. And by that, say, 5-year mark, I mean, he should be well along enough to be main eventing. I mean, obviously he was in a main event the other day, but I mean, like, top tier world championship picture. If you play your cards right, you got to book him solid. You got to have him in good storylines. But he's also got to do his part where his character's got to start to develop a little bit. Maybe it's the flash. Maybe he's missing a little bit of flashy attitude or flashy gear or flashy something. Like I said, he's missing something. I'm not sure what it is, but they got time with him. He's somebody I would book around.
I think his promos are very good. I disagree with you almost about the flashiness. I think he almost tries to go the route of a 98 Rock with the way he kind of dresses when he cuts the promos and those kind of fancy shirts and so on and so forth. The only, I don't want to call it a knock, but again, he's not the world's biggest guy. But again, it's a time in wrestling when size is probably, to the fans that do enjoy it and watch it weekly, I don't think it's ever been less of an issue. But I continue to believe that size is part of the reason why there are so many fans that have decided to move on to other endeavors in their lives, whether it be fans that left at the after the boom era of the 80s, that left after the Monday Night Wars, those that threw up at the end of WrestleMania 17 when they turned Austin heel and never came back, and the business pretty much was on a downward slope ever since. But it's nice to see, whether you like AEW, dislike AEW, it's the only wrestling organization that I can think of that has true momentum right now in the United States at the very least, and it's great to see. And it is the reason because that they should pat WWE on the back for for making it being a place that people want to depart from, or that they just decide to release quality talent from. I mean, look at some of the great talent they've been able to pick up in recent months. Beyond CM Punk, you have Daniel Bryan, you have Adam Cole, you have Andrade Almas, you have Malachi Black, you have Ruby Soho. I mean, these are quality in-ring bodies, as opposed to seeing the Dark Order type that just make me cringe, or the Dinosaur in that faction. And I mean, the thing about AEW up until I've really started to enjoy AEW a bunch, probably the last 4 or 5 months. And to me, though, up until the past couple of months when all these new signees came in, it was like there'd be 1 or 2 killer segments that were, sometimes the best thing of the week in pro wrestling. And then you'd have a couple of segments that I can't believe they'd ever put on national TV.
Right.
They were so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's much improved.
I think so. I mean, I just think their overall product it's top shape, and I think what's to their benefit is that they don't have a pay-per-view or, quote unquote special event every month like WWE does. So they can allow their stories to kind of play out a little bit more. And that was what my point was going to be is that they actually have some good long-term storylines. The first one that comes to mind is that Chris Jericho MJF storyline. I mean, that went on for almost a year, if not a year. And it just finalized. It came to be, but it was something that they did something each week. Him and MJF and Jericho didn't touch. It was a lot of talking, or Jericho doing the labors of Jericho, or whatever the case might be. Even to the fact that they started off together, in the faction of the Inner Circle, and then parting ways at that point and doing the cage match, and it was done correctly. That's how pro wrestling needs to be done. It needs to have a week-to-week storyline, and not just blown off every you do something 1 week and then it's blown off the next, or it's going to be a 3-week run where there's no decisive winner. It's just swapping victories back and forth where it makes zero sense. And that's the problem with WWF right now, or I'm sorry, WWE, where that's what they do each week is just trading wins back and forth and not really building characters and, things like that. MJF, although losing, at the end of it, came out bigger than ever, and he's a bigger star than ever. And he's probably the top heel in the company right now. So, that's what you need to do to build the future of the company. And AEW definitely is doing that.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. Casual fans are a very important thing. And Little Marty, he doesn't really tune in, certainly on a regular basis, but comes across social media clips and stuff. And I remember him telling me, he goes, I hate the guy with the scarf. So, I mean, even to a casual fan that may not be familiar with everything and everyone on the show, he's someone that stands out. The two things, as we get ready to head into the break, if I was to make a suggestion that I would try and tinker with a little bit, number 1 is Excalibur going up and down. I can't stand him, his mask, his Spanish moves, and his in-ring history that nobody cares about. And B, I just think there's so many factions on that show that you can't keep track of them, who's in who, and even the names of some of the people that are involved in them. I mean, it's just, and I love factions, but it's too faction heavy. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
No, and I agree. And to kind of coincide with that, the 4-man booth they have on Rampage, that needs to go. They did a little bit better.
You'd think they'd want that on the 2-hour show instead of the 1-hour show.
The 1-hour show, right? But
yeah.
It's almost like a WrestleMania where they need to put everybody on. It's like, let's just get them on there. And I understand them putting, Taz and Jericho out there because it's star value and that they need that right now in order to build. But there's other ways you can go about it. I just don't think they need, they just need 2 people. I think there should be 2-man booth. The only 2-man booth right now, I believe, is SmackDown with Pat McAfee and I almost said Adam Cole, but Michael Cole.
Don't call him Adam Cole. Yeah.
Yeah. In as much as I'm a fan of those guys, I like the attitude that McAfee brings and the energy. And then, Michael Cole, for everybody that shits on him, I just don't think they know what they're talking about. I think he's actually very decent and very good at what he does.
Really?
I do. I'm a fan of Michael Cole.
That. I think Michael Cole is, almost probably a surprising remark to make, but I think he's a big reason why a lot of fans have tuned out.
No, come on.
Well, I think the announcers play such an important role. For better or worse, if you're going to sit there and watch a 2 or 3 hour wrestling show, the one person that you're going to sit with that's going to be part of the program with you for the duration is going to be that commentary team. They are going to be your quote-unquote friend. That's why people like Vince and Gorilla and Jim Ross will be eternally over, because they were very good at what they did. And, they were almost like your sidekick as you sat there and enjoyed those big shows over the years. When you have Michael Cole over-exaggerating and using words and terminology and nicknames that no human being on the face of the planet would ever use, it's not a good thing. I think Michael Cole is really good at voiceovers. I think when he does sit-down interviews, I think he's very good, but he's just not effective at selling wrestling matches, wrestling moves, wrestling characters, wrestling storylines, and wrestling events, and that's kind of the job of your lead commentary guy.
He reminds me of Vince back in the day, because Vince was.
Oh my God.
I feel like Vince was the worst commentator that there was, but because he doesn't know the moves. He knows the storylines. I give you that, but every other word was what a maneuver, and then the kick out of oh no, he didn't get him, or 1 2 3 oh no type of thing. Vince was terrible, but at the same time, I see a similarity in them when it comes to that, and it's almost like I like both of them. I was a huge fan of Vince on commentary, huge fan.
Well, to me, the difference is Vince, even though, he may not have known all the moves and all the Spanish definitions like Excalibur,
garbage.
He had a true passion and a love for what he was calling and what he was doing. It was his creation. It was his baby. With Michael Cole, to me, a lot of the times you get the feeling that this man has never watched wrestling in his life.
Well, I'm sure he hasn't. He was a war corn spotter when before he became, he came in with WWF, and he was just a backstage guy. At that point when he used to get ribbed by DX a lot. It seemed like almost every week, the original DX. So who knows if he did or not. I think he's grown to, have a passion for the business and what he does. I also think that maybe he's the one guy that's overproduced, where if Vince tells him to say something, he's going to say it verbatim. He's not going to try to make it his own type of thing. So that could be what everybody is, harping about, but I don't know.
Just not my cup of tea. I think he's turned off a lot of wrestling fans because it's just not enjoyable. If you're going to sit there and critique the announcers and saying, again, phrases and terminology and these ludicrous nicknames that they come up with people, the Empress of the Sky, and who the fuck has ever called someone that before? But anyway, right now they're giving me the signal from the back. Go check out the Empress of the Sky. Even more important than 34 nights, folks, if you're in the Northeast. Make your plans, baby. We got live wrestling. We've got the Autograph Photo Fan Fest. We've got the VIP exclusive Q&A. We have the kickoff to the Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. How, where, when? It's Boston Wrestling MWF's 20th anniversary. Back to the 80s WrestleFest. Saturday night, November the 13th. From the historic Memorial Hall in Melrose. VIP packages, tickets on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. Check it out. Wrestling fans in the Northeast and beyond, the countdown is on to Boston Wrestling MWF's 20th anniversary extravaganza. Back to the 90s WrestleFest, Saturday night, November the 13th, at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. Live wrestling, an autograph photo fan fest, VIP exclusive Q&A, and more as we kick off our annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. You'll see and meet 90s legends featuring guests such as WWE Hall of Famers Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, and Bob Backlund, Marty Jannetty, the Doctor of Style Slick, the Berzerker, the Second Doink the Clown, Duke the Dumpster Droese, and Portuguese Man of War Aldo Montoya, plus JTG of Cryme Time, John Cena Sr., and our Vice President Oscar from Men on a Mission. VIP packages and tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. We'll see you live November 13th in Melrose. Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Marty.
And this is the man of the hour, Leo Rush.
It's all over bostonwrestling.com and our social media. But Leo, brother, they got to check out some of this merch.
They got to.
Check it out, fans, right now, available on eBay. At WrestleMania 37, she proved she is the EST, defeating Sasha Banks to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Here's your chance to own this limited edition collector's autograph print, personally signed by Bianca Belair, one of only 50 made direct from our friends at WWE. Also signed by original artist Rob Schamberger. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome Bianca Belair collectible for your wrestling collection now. Wrestling fans, especially here in the Boston area, we want to thank our great friends at Red Rose for their support for all of our charitable endeavors and programming efforts. Red Rose is 2 years young and extremely thankful for all the support they've had from our neighbors here in Melrose and beyond for an amazing first 2 years. Red Rose thanks Melrose and all of the first responders who have fought the good fight and have never given up hope during these unprecedented times. We did it together. Follow Red Rose on Facebook for their anniversary special, facebook.com/Red Rose Melrose. You'll be glad you did. Open until 2 a.m. Red Rose will give you fresh, piping hot, mouth-watering food that'll put an ear-to-ear smile on even the toughest critic's face. Check out their full menu online at redrosema.com or give them a call, 781-620-1889. All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Dan Marty, along with your host of Wrestling Insider Stern but Fair, Mr. Tiger Mulligan, a man that is in love with AEW right now, big free agent signings, along with the addition of Lio Rush to the roster. So Tiger is a happy man. Oh, wait. No.
Wait a minute. I never said that I was a fan of Lio Rush in any way, shape, or form.
I must have remembered it wrong.
Yeah, I think you did. Maybe you had a brain fart or you had one too many mimosas this morning with breakfast.
I wish.
I wish Lio Rush nothing but the best. I'm glad that he's doing better and he's not injured like he claimed he was. But I'm not a fan, and my TV will go click if he does come on.
Well, I am a fan of Lio. I like Lio an awful lot. I've liked Lio since day one. I felt like, again, Tiger, you'll probably enjoy this. I believe it is, I have it programmed for 9 p.m. tonight. We're going to be doing for our watch-along, a mini watch-along, not a full length, where it is October now and Halloween is going to be here before we know it. We are going to go back and do a Sunday Night Live watch-along looking at Saturday night's main event number 3, which aired on November the 2nd, 1985. It was Halloween-themed. We're going to have a lot of fun. It was difficult to try and come up with a time this week because, as we know, any sports playoff game tends to run long, and then I have to take the train back from Boston to get back here to the studio for it. But we're working early, we're working late. We never take a day off in this fine organization. And after you enjoy Wrestling Insider Stern but Fair tonight, you're going to get the Saturday night's main event watch-along. So a big Sunday night here in Boston wrestling as we enjoy the beginning of our third decade and make even bigger preparations to celebrate 20 years on November 13th.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, it sounds like you're a busy man over there. So we're going to try to hopefully get you out a little bit early so you can catch that game and get back to work because we can't give you any days off.
No days off. No days off. But where did we leave off? Well, we're talking the world of professional wrestling. I know you said you were excited about an event that isn't generating a lot of interest right now, at least in the Europe part of the world, a Survivor Series.
No, it's not generating interest, but I'm interested because I have tickets to it. My son is interested because he's going to get to go. We're hoping that your hookup pulls through with better seats if that ever happens, if you make the phone call. But either way, we'll be there. So, hey, it is what it is. It doesn't look like WWE is selling a lot of tickets. Even watching SmackDown the other day, they weren't very great with their camera angles, and you can see a lot of empty chairs, whereas AEW does not really have any. And who knows? It could just be because they're the new kid on the block, and people are just clamoring for change so much that it's new, so they're going to go to it and flock to it, and we'll have to see if they continue doing what they're doing. But yeah, I'm excited for Survivor Series. It's a big four. You got to be excited for it.
With AEW, you have to remember that they also generally run the B arenas in the cities. They almost like to go to the the college arenas, so to speak, as opposed to the major
There's
league.
nothing wrong with that, though.
No, well, I mean, it's easier for them to fill those seats when there's less of them, as opposed to WWE, which
So then
generally
WWE
runs
needs
You think WWE should run the smaller buildings for the time being?
Listen, I mean, when I would say in the early 2000s, they were running, the same buildings, and when they just didn't have crowds in their live events or house shows, whatever you want to call them, when they were only drawing, 800 to 1,000 fans, it looked like garbage. It was terrible, like a glorified indie almost. So why do that to yourself? Why spend all that money? You're looking at budget cuts. Cut back on the arenas you go to. There's certain arenas you're going to have to play because that's just the city. But if you're going to Podunk, Kentucky, why play their big arena and just go to the college and there's nothing wrong with an 8,000 seat venue or a 5,000 seat venue. When it looks packed, it looks better on TV. Production costs will be cheaper. It's just a win-win all around.
Well, WWE is of the mindset, they are the major league in the genre. They should be in the major league venues. So I understand. I understand both trains of thought.
Yeah, I don't disagree that they are the major league, and so is AEW for that fact. Like we just mentioned, Impact. Maybe one of the reasons why I don't try to seek out Impact is because some of the clips I see of their show is just it's worse than NXT, and NXT is not very good production right now.
It's very dim.
And I get it. I get it. We're still in this pandemic, and it's hard to do things like that. And cash flow just isn't there anymore. But there's got to come a time where you got to say to yourself, okay, we've gone through it all. They're selling out these, Madison Square Garden or Chicago, Rosemont, and all this kind of stuff. It's time for those smaller companies to start taking a gamble on themselves and move out and make their product look a little bit better. Even the NWA, I love that kind of intimate feeling, but not for a TV show. It just doesn't resonate with me. And I'm sure I have the same mindset as a lot of other people out there.
Well, what do you think about Impact trying to make Las Vegas their home?
Here's the thing with Vegas, though. I feel SummerSlam did decent, but I think there was just a lot of people in town for the weekend because of the UFC and the boxing and the WWE. I've never seen Vegas as a wrestling town. It's just not there. People aren't going to Vegas to see shows like that. I think they're going to gamble, and if they are able to spend enough money and get a free ticket to a show, then they're going to go. I know that they're still struggling to get, I think they have a show coming up there soon, whether it be a TV taping or Bound for Glory or something like that.
I think it might be Bound for Glory.
Yeah, and they're struggling to sell tickets to it. And to the point where I think I know actually that Matt Cardona and Brian Myers are running, one of their live podcasts or live shows the day before. And if you buy a ticket to their show, they're actually going to give you a free ticket to their TV tapings. So that just kind of goes to show that, it's not a great city, and that just even their product doesn't seem like people want to go invest their hard-earned money into it.
Well, I think the benefit to Vegas is you always have fresh people coming in and out. It's kind of a destination city. But
it
like you said,
is,
it's not a major market. Outside of that little one area, you're talking about it's pretty much just a desert. So there's it's going to be tough to get regulars. You're going to need to rely on that traveling crowd. And again, the great thing is Vegas is one of the destination spots in the United States. For pay-per-views, I'm sure they'll do much better than TV tapings, especially if they're going to do multiple days in a row. But it's going to be interesting to see. I wish I was going to be in Vegas. I'd love to check it out. It's been so long since I've seen an Impact Wrestling event live, or pretty much Impact Wrestling event, period.
I've never seen one live. Obviously, back in the day when it was kind of newer, when Jeff Jarrett was running the show, I used to watch it religiously. But now not so much.
I tell you this, they used to have some absolutely out-of-this-world tremendous house shows that I think you would have loved.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just some great wrestling. Almost
they also
on par
had
with NXT
great talent
when they were
back
at their peak.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they had great talent back then. But even the talent they have now, I like a lot of the talent they have now. I don't like their women's division whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the NWA and Impact are really trying to push the women's division down everybody's throats. I think Mickie James has a lot to do with that. Although I'm a huge fan of Mickie James, and I've seen some recent pictures of her lately, and I have to say, goddamn. But no, I just think they're just trying to shove it down our throats way too much, and they're putting too much of a focus on it as opposed to the show overall.
When is there going to be a promotion that doesn't have a women's division? I don't know.
But
I don't want to watch it.
But
I have no interest in it.
No, neither do I. But it's crazy because I feel like I read something the other day or saw something somewhere where AJ Lee is coming out of retirement for the WoW Federation.
But at least, you know what? I'll give these folks credit where credit is due. They are trying to do the one thing I have been suggesting that one of these companies do forever, which is create an all-women's platform. I have no problem with that. Let those people that love women's wrestling enjoy WoW. Maybe it'll be a good thing. I have no idea. But
do you think it's even going to draw any viewers or any? It's going to turn heads at all? I mean, I know that they got Tessa Blanchard on board and they got AJ Lee on board. They're the first ones to get her since she retired. But who's left? What else is out there? I don't know.
It's nothing that I'm going to go. If it's available on TV here, I may check it out just to see what it's like. But I mean,
my guess is that they'll do strictly on a streaming service for the shows that they put on.
Maybe.
I don't think they'll go crazy trying to put it on TV anywhere, and nor do I think anybody would pick any solid TV station would pick that show up unless they did syndication.
Well, you know what? You took the words right out of my mouth. I believe they do have some kind of a syndicated deal.
Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? That old school sometimes is the new school. So why not try it? You got to hustle a little bit more to get your product out to the certain markets, and you got to make sure that the right stuff is playing at the right times. But hey, listen, it's if nobody else is doing it, you might as well give it a try.
I just think if WWE invested more in some of the guys that they don't utilize well or utilize much, as opposed to just these repetitive, boring women's matches, I think WWE's business improves. I think more people watch. I think more people are interested.
Yeah,
I don't think they want to watch lousy women's wrestling. I don't think there's not and again, you know what? People have knocked me and so on. Again, it's one man's opinion. It is nothing personal against any talent in particular. I just don't think there's enough really good women's wrestlers for every promotion to try and have a good women's division.
I was just about to say that. You took the words out of my mouth, where there's not enough seasoned women out there that could put on solid matches and keep people entertained. It just looks bad. But even WWF, or I don't know why I keep saying WWF, but WWE has the same problem. I think it was something the other day with Shayna Baszler was beating up Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke looked terrible in the match.
She hasn't looked good since day one.
Yeah, but then Doudrop comes out to make the save. It just, I mean, I want you to, if you have a quick second before you go to bed tonight, pull it up somewhere, somehow, and just watch the end of it where the whole thing of it just looked really, really, really bad. Like to the point where it was like they all three of them looked lost. They didn't know what to do.
You know, I actually remember seeing that now, and they've been pushing Baszler as this again the way
Killer.
They should wants to kill a heel, and she kind of ran from Doudrop, if I remember right.
But Doudrop just came out and stood there, didn't do anything, didn't say anything, just standing there, and then goes to help her. Shayna hits her with one weak shot to the back, and then that's it. And it's like, that's so stupid. Like, it made zero sense. So I don't know. I don't know where they're trying to go with it.
It's like Otis. It's like Reginald. It's someone right now, whether it be Vince McMahon or someone else high up the food chain right now, has a dude. It's crazy as it sounds, a Doudrop fetish. Oh, the fans will get a big kick out of this. And the only people that are laughing are the fans that are changing the channel. I don't think anyone has interest in seeing Doudrop. I think they'd like to see Doudrop get dropped from the roster. She adds
I don't like the name.
Nothing.
I don't like the name. I don't like the look. I mean, she comes out doing like spirit fingers or something. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe that's what it is. I don't get the name. I don't get the gimmick. I don't understand. Like, not for nothing, people. It's a show. and it's an entertainment show, and you need to have a gimmick, whether that be yourself amped up to 10, but it's got to be a gimmick. Steve Austin was a gimmick. The Rock was a gimmick. Dewdrop, to me, it's a gimmick, but it ranks up there with Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
Bye-bye. Nia Jax, bye-bye. Dana Brooke, bye-bye. Mandy Rose,
I don't get it.
bye-bye. Oh, well, I don't know.
Well,
Mandy
she's
Rose,
down.
they're trying to... You know what? I give them credit where credit is due. At least they knew something was missing, and they're trying to work with it. So, you know what? Let's see how they try and give her a fresh coat of paint. Maybe there is something there. I don't know. I think she's a very attractive lady, but that's not why I want to watch a wrestling show. I want to see the simulated action, the violence, the drama, the elements of danger, not Dewdrop, not Nia Jax, not Dana Brooke, not Sasha Banks doing her Eddie Guerrero tributes and Bayley doing her Randy Savage tributes with these moves that look like they wouldn't crack an egg if if the egg was in the ring and was the opponent.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that yes, it's simulated violence. It's a simulated fight, but there's got to be some kind of connection with a punch. There's got to be some kind of connection with a kick. It's not ballet by any means. You're a professional if you are making it look like you just punched somebody dead in the face, but you actually didn't. And a lot of the guys and girls that are out there right now, especially the females, are just not capable of doing that, and it's unfortunate.
And again, it's not her fault. Nikki Ash would be bye-bye if it was up to me.
Oh,
I mean,
God,
and I enjoyed what she did. She kind of reminded me in the beginning of almost like a female Kevin Sullivan or a Tasmaniac before Taz became Taz. And they turned her into an uninteresting, unlikable idiot unless you were putting together a show. If it was a all-children show, I'd say, you know what, that's kind of fun. Go with it. But if this is on a primetime show that's meant for adults, especially between 10 and 11 o'clock at night, do they really think that the 18 to 34s and the 18 to 49 demographics they're looking for want to watch Dewdrop and Nikki Ash? I mean, is there really... there's actual people with common sense that believe that to be a fact, that there's interest in that? Because let me tell you something. If you go to any event and you sit there and listen to fans, you know what the problem is? That they listen to social media too much. And it's too small of a percentage of the fan base. What they should do is have plants that work in the office, sit in the crowd and just listen. Listen. That's what I would do with my friend Ed Cohen in WWF. Every live event, he would ask me, what are the fans saying? What are they buzzing about? And him and I would talk sometimes for between a half an hour and an hour, and he would generate reports based upon things I would hear the people talking about. What do they like? What do they not like? I remember a very, very one instance leading into, I think it was SmackDown, right before WrestleMania 17 in Providence, when the product really started to go downhill. They did this horrible, long sit-down backstage interview between Steve Austin and The Rock, who both at that point were white hot, but the fans had zero interest in the presentation of it. And I remember he wrote a very long report about it, how the fans didn't like it, my interpretation of the fans' reaction, and I guess when he brought it to the powers that be's attention, he was kind of scoffed at for it. And they kind of continued to go in that direction, but that's a different story for a different time. But I thought it was worth noting. It kind of fit into what we're talking about now. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's unfortunate where it almost feels like AEW is listening to the fans in some sort of aspect, and WWE just is listening to what they have to say and then doing the complete opposite.
I just think AEW, it goes too far with the nonsense. I mean, are there really people out there that want to see something like the Dark Order or Luchasaurus or, Matt Hardy and his 8th gimmick since he's been there and his faction of nobodies and just...
I think what it boils down to with AEW is I don't know how the pecking order goes, and Kenny Omega is he still an EVP, and the Young Bucks, but those guys I don't know if you've ever seen their Elite YouTube show or whatever it was, or Being the Elite or whatever. Never. But they're they're at heart they're goofy guys that think fart jokes are funny and things like that, which is totally fine. but I could tell that they're trying to portray that through other people on TV, and it just isn't working. They're a fan and get a kick out of the Dark Order, which is why the Dark Order is still around. They think it's goofy and funny, and unfortunately, I don't think the majority of the wrestling universe thinks it's goofy and funny.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's insulting to me that they think that's something that wrestling fans want to see. And I'm not trying to knock the talent. It could be a combination of the talent, the presentation, the creative, but it's atrocious in my mind. But
well, I mean, I will knock the talent. I don't think that anybody in that Dark Order, Colt Cabana aside, I don't know why Colt Cabana is even in that, but he has the talent to be on TV right now. Their gimmick is not very good.
No, and it's never been good.
They had something with Brodie Lee where he was there, but you know what? I'm sorry. As much as I hate to say it, he's not around anymore. So let's just be done with it and let it just have whatever nostalgia it has when you need to have it. But it's over and done with. Let's just be done with it.
And I'll probably get heat for this from those that are listening, but it's nothing against the human being. But there was nothing about the Brodie Lee portrayal that I liked. They used him as an idiot, trying to do, inside of Vince McMahon remark jokes that nobody virtually understood unless they were a diehard internet fan. And that's a small percentage of the people watching. Most people watching that would have no idea on planet Earth what he was talking about. And I'll tell you this again, it's probably a heat-seeking missile that I'll say it, but I don't think an 8-year-old child belongs involved in angles coming out in a mask. I think it's great that they've been so nice to the family. There's tons of ways they could be great to that kid without putting him on a nationally televised wrestling show.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
And I hope they're great to that family forever. I think that says a lot about Tony Khan. I think it says a lot about the entire company. But at the same time, it is a professional wrestling show. Having a little kid running around in a mask does not give any of them credibility. If anything, it castrates the Dark Order even more, and they're as bad enough as it is even without them.
Yeah, it's too bad because they have so many small guys in that faction right now where if you were to put a mask on all of them, I wouldn't know who the 8-year-old is.
Oh, don't even.
Anyway.
But I'm not.
Anyway.
I don't want to demean a kid that lost his dad. It's
no,
not that.
Listen,
it's
not
doesn't
him.
belong.
Yeah, it doesn't belong.
If you were talking about say someone passed away that was part of a movie. I mean, would you start putting the kid in random scenes to be kind?
I'll relate it to this. I'll relate it to this where, and maybe I'm off base with it, but back when Brian Pillman passed away, the very next night on Raw, they put his wife, his widow, on TV for that segment. Probably the worst thing in the world that they could have ever done. I think
classless.
It was very classless, very poor taste, and it's kind of the same, but not really. It's just the fact that WWE wanted to show what they were doing and how much they cared for the family and for whatever the case might be. But if that's the case, then keep her off TV. Let her collect Pillman's paycheck for the rest of his whatever contract, or give him a buyout or something. Take care of the family that way monetarily, and then if need be, give a job to them down the road if they're qualified for that job. But other than that, they don't need to be on TV like that.
When they did the nice tribute with the boots in the ring, that's fitting.
That's different.
That was a nice segment to pay tribute to him. But after that, have him come to the shows and horse around with the guys in the ring before the events, in the locker room if you want to do that. I think that's great. But don't put him on TV.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but that's the other thing is, do you really need to bring an 8-year-old kid to every TV taping?
I don't even know if he's there weekly. I'm just saying when he has been around.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I feel like he has been going weekly. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm off base. And if I am, I apologize for that. But they were up in Albany. I don't know if it was last week or the week before. They did a little something there to tribute. That's great, but that was his hometown. But I don't think it needs to be weekly or bi-weekly or whatever the case might be. If you want to have an anniversary thing or an anniversary tribute, fine. But like you said, he doesn't need to be out there week in and week out.
And again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm knocking someone that's passed away, But
No,
I mean,
not at all.
he had a very short. It's not like he was there long. I mean, the company
No.
itself just turned 2 years old. I mean, he was only there a few months.
Well, you know what? I think it was more of a, he was one of those beloved figures backstage with the boys in both WWE and AEW. So, what they did as far as tributes and things like that, kudos to them, because I think that he deserved that. And he was one of those people that left a lasting impression on everybody. And not for nothing, I liked his Luke Harper character. I enjoyed some of the matches. Like I can remember some of the matches he had with Dolph Ziggler when he was going for the IC strap and whatnot.
Yeah.
He was great. He was really, really good, and he was a good person. He had a good heart. He's the type of guy that instead of staying overnight somewhere, would get in the car and drive home so he could wake up with his family. So he's a family man. He loved his kids. And that's the legacy that I feel like he left. I just don't think that you need to keep going with it. I think there comes a time where you have to say, all right, enough is enough.
Well, I imagine we're going to get crucified for that, but
which is fine. You know what? It is what it is. It's our
personal opinion.
Yeah, it's our opinion. And again, like you said, this is not a knock on Brodie Lee. It's not a knock on AEW. It's not really a knock at all. It just is it's over and done with. It doesn't need to keep going. Why keep reliving the pain of losing somebody? I don't know why you would want to do that. You talk about all this mental health and stuff like that. By not letting it go and by not moving, not so much letting it go, but by not moving on from it is going to mess with your mental status. And, everybody that's putting out these mental case ads and how everybody's going to speak up and this and that and blah, blah, blah. By reliving this day in and day out, you're not doing much for your mental status.
Well, I'll say this. If it was me, and, believe it or not, Tony Khan didn't call for my opinion, I would do something once a year.
Sure.
And that would be that.
There's nothing wrong with
on TV. As far as what they do outside of the televised product, go balls to the wall, to be great to them. I think that's kind. I think that's nice. I think we need more of that in life in general. But as far as the televised wrestling product goes, once a year.
Yeah, and it almost feels like it's like a power play move to get sympathy from people to say, "Oh, I'm going to support AEW because they do this. Look at all the times they're paying tribute to him, and they're doing something now with Owen Hart and stuff like that."
And I think that's
great.
Really nice too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
depends on how it's executed, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know any inside information on it except for what I've read, but it seems like they'll be trying to get some donations to the Owen Hart Foundation and whatnot.
And that's a good thing.
It's a really good thing, but at the same time, I just hope they're not using the name of Owen to sell more tickets. That's what I don't want to see.
Well, I don't want to be rude towards Owen Hart, but I mean, do you think using the name Owen Hart is going to sell tickets?
I don't know.
I don't see how that really benefits them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's more of I want to get an additional sponsor because of how we carry ourselves and things like that. I don't know. I don't know what the end game is. I just hope that, again, they're doing it on the up and up. It seems like they are, because you know what? Tony Khan doesn't seem like that type of shrewd businessman to where he's going to be doing things just to get an extra payday in his pocket. It seems like he's a very giving man to where he's going to give back a lot more than he receives.
This is when the fans may like more than certain friends I have, but I'll go here. I think what AEW is trying to do, at least on paper, as far as what's been, because they do send me press releases and photo galleries every week from their PR people who I'm in contact with. But I think what they're trying to do is more appropriate and kinder and more fan-orientated and goodwill than what WWE attempted to do with that DVD that the wife stressed she didn't want released. I
mean, WWE was trying to make a buck.
And they did, at the end of the day, he died on their watch, whether it was an accident or not.
Yeah.
If the woman didn't, whatever. At the end of the day, I know Owen Hart is beloved. He belongs in the WWE Hall of Fame, absolutely. But the way he died, if his wife does not want the man included in that company's endeavors, she has that right as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure she's the executive of his will and everything going forward in his,
of course, yeah,
with his likeness and so on. It should be her call as much as the talent and the fans want to see it happen. I think AEW has a chance to celebrate his life and his legacy in a respectful way, and I think that's nice. I hope. Knock on wood. I hope that's the way that it's executed.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm sure it will be. Maybe we're just spewing a lot of bullshit today. But
I think it'd be, and I don't know if this is the plan or not, but I think it'd be a great way to get them into Canada. I think that would generate a lot of interest if they were to go to Calgary or, I know they did. I believe it was in Toronto when they did that Benoit Bret Hart match on Nitro that was a tribute to Owen. Or was that in Kansas City?
No, I think that was Kansas City in the same arena that he died.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. But I think they did some. For some reason, Toronto sticks out that they did something. What, I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, he was
WCW was forgettable.
Yeah, tell me about it. But anyway, let's move on from it.
All right. Well, we got to wrap up here. Are there any important headlines that we missed? I know you're a man that takes great notes.
Yeah. So you know what? The only thing we mentioned belts and stuff earlier. God rest his soul, Reggie Park passed away this week.
It's not good for you for mentioning old Reggie.
Yeah, you
Parks.
know what? Reggie Park, he's not somebody that probably is well known within the industry. But for me, I grew up, give a little context. He's the one that designed and made all of the old championship belts, especially for WWF.
The classic ones.
Especially for WWF. I was a huge fan of those original titles, the Wing Eagle belt and the tag titles that, Demolition War and Strike Force War, and even the original Intercontinental title that Macho Man wore. So you know what? He's one of those unsung heroes of the professional wrestling world. So my prayers and my thoughts go out to his family, and I hope that people can do their research and learn more about Reggie Park.
He was just at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion a couple of weeks ago.
Was he really?
Yeah. And I hate to say it, and I don't know this to be fact by any stretch of the imagination, but I know there was a bit of a COVID outbreak as a result of the reunion. I hope that didn't have anything to do with it. I know there were about 25 people that were hospitalized.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I heard through social media.
I don't know, exactly what he passed away from. I didn't read that part of it, but I saw a lot of the tributes, and especially I was reading some stuff that Bret Hart was putting out, and because I guess Bret's family was very close with Reggie Park.
Was very, very friendly with Reggie Parks.
Yeah, he has got that iconic story that I won't retell right now about Owen Ribbon, Stu, and Reggie Park being a part of it. So you can go back and watch Bret's induction into the WWE Hall of Fame, and you can hear the story. It's a classic one.
Well, there was a time, for whatever reason, WWF looked at the Cauliflower Alley Club as an enemy for some reason.
Really?
And they had
they look at everybody that way.
Back when the reunion used to be in Los Angeles instead of Las Vegas, it was the same weekend as WrestleMania 7, and everybody involved was forbidden to go to the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. And I guess Stu was upset because he wanted to go and see Reggie Parks and a few other people, but because he was part of the WWF brigade and WrestleMania 7, he wasn't allowed to go.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate, but...
And that's great. And now WWF is one of the great sponsors of the CAC. They get 2 tables every year, and so I don't know. But we'll get a chance to check it out tomorrow night. Before Raw at 7:30, we have Rey Mysterio's great speech, or again, you can head on over to patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Help keep wrestling legends working. Enjoy the Rey Mysterio speech from Las Vegas now. Check out the New Jack and Demolition Axe episodes this week early, full screen. You don't have all those ads circulating through it. It's a hell of a good time. Tiger, anything else, my friend, before we put you back in the cage for the week?
Nope. Just, again, follow me on Twitter at Tiger Mulligan. If you want to, please... take a listen to my other podcast that I have out there, Banter with the Boys. Boys is spelled with a Z. That's my son and I that have been doing it. We're going on 7 weeks now. It's been a good hit so far. So check us out, follow us, and let us know what you think.
All right, wrestling fans, for Tiger Mulligan, I'm Dan Marty. Until we speak again, don't forget, tonight we're going to be having the Saturday night's main event number 3, live watch-along, approximately 9 p.m., depending upon how quick we can get back from Fenway Park. But until then, Good night from Boston. We'll see you November 13th at Memorial Hall when we go back to the 90s. Get your tickets now, bostonwrestling.com. Wrestling fans in the Northeast and beyond, the countdown is on to Boston Wrestling MWF's 20th anniversary extravaganza, Back to the 90s WrestleFest, Saturday night, November the 13th, at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. Live wrestling, an autograph photo fan fest, VIP exclusive Q&A, and more as we kick off our annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. You'll see and meet 90s legends featuring guests such as WWE Hall of Famers Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, and Bob Backlund, Marty Jannetty, the Doctor of Style Slick, the Berzerker, the Second Doink the Clown, Duke the Dumpster Droese, and Portuguese Man of War Aldo Montoya, plus JTG of Cryme Time, John Cena Sr., and our Vice President Oscar from Men on a Mission. VIP packages and tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. We'll see you live November 13th in Melrose. Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.